A blessed day to all of you, dear friends, and also those who are joining us through this live stream. We continue our reflection on the first reading, one of the most important, famous part of the letter of Paul to the Corinthians. At the center of this is the so-called the holy tradition of the Eucharistic meal of the Lord. What Jesus did and what is the meaning of this for the Christians of that time and for all times. We have to understand a little bit the practice of the early church regarding the Eucharist, that it is not like what we have now. The Eucharist has stylized already, only commemorating the words of Jesus at Last Supper, but rather it was placed within an agape, a community meal like fiesta, and within this meal would form part now the so-called that what we have now, the Eucharist. And it was within that situation that of community meal that Paul saw the division, differences within this community. Now, some were left hungry because others already ate, or the more wealthy members of the community would have eaten already, and so there was a kind of a division within this Christian community. And Paul would use precisely the image of this Eucharist, Jesus giving of himself, as a reflection, as a model to correct that division within this particular Christian community. So he would remember, and thanks to this remembrance that Paul did, that we have, for example, a clear tradition, holy tradition of what Jesus did, that on the night before he died, he supped. He took bread, etc. This would become for Paul the model and the core of Christian worship that should become also, that should interrogate always Christian communities, Christian assemblies. Just as Jesus gave himself freely, generously, as food for everyone, for those who believe, then Christian communities should promote this fraternity, this equality among its members. And the Eucharist would serve as a constant challenge for all of us who participate in the Eucharist, that the Eucharist becomes a model for our communal living, especially in our relating with one another. There is that other dimension also of this holy tradition, that it would emphasize, for example, this life-giving covenant, new and eternal covenant that Jesus offered, superseding the old covenant of blood at Sinai, Now it is this self-giving of Jesus, the new covenant, the ratification of the new covenant with His own blood. As we celebrate the Eucharist, that sometimes we take it for granted, that sometimes we are so distracted with our celebrations and we forget that this is the gift of Christ, of Himself on the cross. May we come to a greater understanding and appreciation of Christ's self-giving in the Eucharist. And this may serve us in our life as Christians and in our relationship with one another, creating communities of equality, of fraternity. Amen.